Imagine this. You have a credit card with an $8,000 limit. You put $3,000 on it for a home appliance upgrade. The money is already sitting in your checking account. The moment the bill lands in your inbox, you pay it off completely. Not the minimum, the entire thing. Zero interest charged, $0 wasted. By every definition, you are a responsible borrower. Then 4 days later, your credit monitoring app sends you an alert. Your score just fell 30 points. No new accounts, no missed payments, no suspicious activity. You did everything correctly, and the system still moved against you. This quietly destroys the credit scores of hundreds of thousands of Americans every single month, and almost all of them never figure out the real reason. Today, we are going to expose exactly why it happens, and more importantly, precisely how to stop it.
Most Americans are taught one date, the due date. Pay by this date, avoid the late fee, avoid the interest, you're good. And financially speaking, that logic is correct. But here is where the trap opens up. We all assume the credit bureaus are watching us in real time, like a live security feed, constantly updated, always current. You pay off your balance on the 14th, and you assume Experian knows you're debt-free on the 15th. That is not how this works. The credit scoring system is not a live stream. It is a photograph. And the devastating part is that the photographer almost always shows up right before you've had a chance to clean the room. Here is the actual mechanics of a billing cycle. Let's say your billing cycle runs from the 1st to the 30th of the month. You're spending normally, groceries, gas, a dinner out. Your balance is climbing throughout the month. On the 30th, the cycle closes. The bank generates your statement, that PDF that lands in your inbox. This moment is called the statement closing date, and the balance printed on that statement is the exact number your bank reports to the credit bureaus. It gets locked into your credit report for that month. Now here is the brutal part. Your due date isn't until roughly 25 days later, so you could be carrying a reported balance of $4,000, even though you plan to pay every single cent, and you will. The bureau doesn't see your intention. It doesn't see your bank account. It sees that $4,000 snapshot and flags you as a high-utilization borrower. You feel responsible because money left your account and paid the bill, but your credit report tells a completely different story. The system isn't broken, it's just running on a 30-day delay, reporting yesterday's news as if it were today's reality. And if you don't control when that snapshot is taken, the bank controls it for you.
Now you might be thinking, does the difference between reporting $10 versus $1,000 actually matter that much? You might assume it is worth a point or two. If that is what you think, you are seriously underestimating how the algorithm weighs this. Credit utilization sits inside a category called amounts owed. It makes up 30% of your entire FICO score. Nearly 1/3 of your complete financial reputation is based on one ratio. How much of your available credit are you currently using? Let's talk about the math, because this is where most people underestimate the damage. Utilization is simple division, your current balance divided by your total credit limit. If you owe $500 on a $1,000 card, you are at 50% utilization. And 50% is a crisis in the eyes of the algorithm. Here is how the thresholds work. Below 30%, you look like a responsible borrower. Above 30%, you start looking like a risk. Above 50%, you look like someone under financial pressure. Approaching 100%, your score goes into free fall. But here is the nuance most people miss entirely. This applies to every individual card, not just your overall combined utilization. You could have $50,000 in total available credit spread across multiple cards, but if one single card with a $500 limit is maxed out, your score takes a hit. The algorithm flags that one account as a sign of financial distress. I call it the panic signal. One maxed-out card, even a small one, sends a red flag through the entire report. I have seen people with scores above 800 drop into the 740s simply because they booked a family vacation on a low-limit card. The system doesn't know you have the cash. It doesn't care. It sees the snapshot, it applies the formula, and your score adjusts instantly. But here is the good news, and this is genuinely good news. Utilization has no memory. Unlike a missed payment that haunts your report for 7 years, utilization resets the moment a new balance is reported. 90% utilization in January, paid down to 5% in February, and your score bounces back as if January never happened. That is the power you are about to learn to use. So what is the actual fix? How do you control when the camera clicks? The answer is something called the statement date strategy, and it is less of a hack, more of a simple timing adjustment. Because utilization has no memory, you are not trying to fix something permanent, you are simply correcting the current data point, and you can do that in 30 days or less. The strategy is straightforward. Instead of waiting for your bill to arrive and then paying it, you pay down your balance 3 to 4 days before your statement closing date. You log in and you manually push a payment. You bring your balance down to almost nothing, so when the 30th rolls around and the bank generates that statement, the balance it captures, the number it sends to Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax is a trivial figure, $10, $20. That trivial figure is what gets hard-coded into your credit report, not the $2,000 you actually spent that month, not the real number, the curated number, the number you intentionally left behind. Then, on the actual due date, 3 weeks later, you simply pay that remaining $10. Zero interest charged, because you were paying in full, just in 2 separate steps. You use the card normally all month, but the official record shows you barely touched your limit. You are decoupling your actual spending from your reported balance. And that gap, that small window between the closing date and the due date, is where your credit score lives or dies. Most Americans never even knew that window existed. Now you do. Here is where it gets counterintuitive. And this is the part that even financially disciplined people get wrong. You might assume that if low utilization is good, then zero utilization must be perfect. Pay everything off completely 3 days before the statement closes, report a zero balance across every card, clean slate, perfect score, right? Stop right there. Consistently reporting zero balances across every single card every single month can actually result in a lower score than reporting a small balance. I know that sounds insane, but the algorithm penalizes you for looking like a ghost. Here is why. The FICO scoring model is specifically designed to assess how you manage debt. If your report shows $0 owed month after month, year after year, the model has no data to work with. It cannot see how you handle credit because from its perspective, you are not using any. And in the eyes of the algorithm, someone who never uses credit is slightly riskier than someone who uses it responsibly and consistently. You are not demonstrating the behavior the system wants to score. The data actually backs this up. People who consistently achieve scores above 800 do not report 0% utilization. They average somewhere between 4% and 7%. A small, intentional, manageable balance. There is a specific strategy built around this insight. It's called the all zero except one method. If you carry 5 credit cards, you pay 4 of them completely down before the statement closes. On the 5th card, you leave a tiny balance, $10, $20, roughly 1% of that card's limit. This tells the algorithm two things simultaneously. Yes, I am actively using credit, and yes, I have it completely under control. That specific combination triggers the highest possible points in the amounts owed category. Now, before you panic, leaving a reported balance does not mean paying interest. Remember the timeline. The statement closes with $10 showing. You have until the due date, roughly 20 days later, to pay that $10 in full. Zero interest charged. You are simply threading the needle between the reporting date and the payment due date, two completely separate events that most Americans treat as one. Now let's talk about actually doing this, because theory without execution is just entertainment. Step 1. Find your statement closing date, not the due date, the closing date. Your bank app is deliberately designed to highlight the due date because that is the date that protects them. The closing date is buried. Go to your Statements tab, open an actual PDF of a past bill, and look for Billing Cycle Ends or Next Closing Date. Once you have it, add it to your calendar as a recurring monthly reminder. If your card closes on the 15th, set your reminder for the 13th. That 2-day buffer matters. Bank transfers can take a full day to post. You do not want to initiate a payment on the 14th, only for it to clear on the 16th after the statement already closed. Step 2. On reminder day, log in and check your current balance. Let's say it shows $800. You want the statement to report roughly $10, so you manually push a payment of $790 immediately, not scheduled, not autopay, right now. When the 15th arrives, the statement generates showing $10. That $10 is what gets reported to the bureaus. You curated your own credit snapshot. Step 3. After the statement closes, open it, confirm the balance, and ensure that remaining amount gets paid before the due date. Zero interest, clean record. Now, one critical rule. Autopay will not do this for you. Autopay is designed to protect you from late payments. It is not designed to optimize your score. If you want to control the snapshot, you have to take manual control. Turn off the autopilot, at least for the cards you are managing, and only run this protocol when you know a major financial decision is 60 days away. A mortgage application, a car loan, a refinance. For the rest of the year, simply keeping utilization under 20% is enough to stay in excellent territory. But when you need every single point, now you know exactly how to get them. Now let's talk about how this strategy can backfire, because there is a version of this that gets your account shut down entirely. It is called credit cycling. Here's what it looks like. You have a $1,000 limit. You spend $1,000. Pay it off mid-month, spend another $1,000, pay it off again, spend another $1,000. By the end of the month, you have technically run $3,000 through a $1,000 limit. You might think the bank loves you for this. You would be wrong. To a bank's risk department, this pattern looks like fraud. Specifically, it resembles something called bust-out fraud, where someone maxes out credit and disappears. The bank gave you a $1,000 limit for a reason. That is the exact amount of exposure they agreed to carry with you. By cycling, you are forcing them to absorb 3 times that volume without their consent. This triggers internal reviews, account phrases, and in many cases, permanent account closures. The fix is simple. Keep your monthly spending roughly within your actual credit limit. If you constantly find yourself hitting the ceiling, you do not need a timing strategy. You need a credit limit increase. Call your issuer, tell them you pay in full every month, and you need more breathing room for regular expenses. A higher limit makes utilization management almost effortless. If your limit jumps to $20,000 and you spend $2,000 a month, you are naturally sitting at 10% utilization without touching a single payment date. One final defensive move. Never close old credit cards. Closing a card removes its limit from your total available credit. Your debt stays the same, but your denominator shrinks and your utilization spikes instantly. Keep old cards open. Put a small recurring subscription on them. Let them silently protect your numbers in the background. Let's wrap this up. Find your statement closing date. Pay down your balance 3 days before it closes. Leave roughly 1%, not 0. Let the statement report that small number. Pay the remainder by the due date. 0 interest, higher score. The banking system runs on rules. Most people only learn the fee rules. The timing rules are where the real leverage lives. Try it on one card this month. Watch what happens to your score. Drop a comment with how many points you gained. See you in the next one.